Welcome back.
So, you are probably seeing this piece of cardboard here going, what in the world is she doing? I ask myself that a lot these days, but I have a project that I'm doing and I wanted to be able to pour on cardboard. So, I went down a huge rabbit hole this month trying to figure out how to make cardboard pourable. And we shall see if it works. So, here's what I found so far. I start with Shellac Flakes. They're just these little flakes, but not near thin enough. You have to actually grind them up. So I just take a mortar and pestle and just grind it up super duper fine. And once I've done that, you can kind of see here, it ends up being really fine. Then you add your solvent, and the solvent is either denatured alcohol. Sometimes that can be hard to get. I actually just used 99% isopropyl alcohol. It's 4 ounces of the alcohol to 1 ounce of flakes, and that's a 2-pound cut. You can go lighter than that, you can go heavier than that. It just kind of depends upon what characteristics you want for your shellac. Now, when you add the alcohol in, it doesn't just dissolve right away. It takes a little bit longer with the isopropyl alcohol versus the denatured alcohol. You can speed that process up by stirring it every 20 minutes or so for like 5 or 6 hours. I stir it a couple times and then let it sit for several days because it has the exact same effect and I don't have to remember to stir it. So what you get when you're done is this awesome bucket of shellac. You can see I left my paintbrush in here because it's just a chip brush and honestly, I just didn't want to keep cleaning it. This stuff is uber sticky. Please, please, please wear gloves. It also is stinky because it's just like straight isopropyl alcohol. So there's all sorts of floaties in here. I don't care because the whole purpose of what I'm doing here is I'm trying to make this water resistant. My cardboard, I want it to be a little bit stronger because right now it's not super strong. Cardboard's cardboard, right? And it's just not strong. So as you can see, you know, cardboard here, you know, I'm not going to bend this a whole lot, but I am leaving this kind of intact. I will cut this up into strips for my project, but for right now I'm doing this. And, you know, I tried a lot of different things. This is house paint on this. This has been on there for several weeks. And, I mean, it's okay strong, but it still buckles really easily, and it's soft. So, all you do is you just paint this stuff on. It's not hard, right? And it goes on so stinking easy. It's very, very fluid. Now, you can put acrylic paint or water-based paint over the top of shellac. What you can't do is put shellac over the top of your water-based or acrylic paint because it's made out of a solvent and it will literally eat it'll eat the paint and be a huge gooey mess. Don't ask me how I know that because, you know, logic is hard sometimes. Anyway, so when I do this, I actually make sure and I get my edges really good. And you can tell that on my surface here, I definitely have got some cardboard because I don't want this gooey junk everywhere. But what I'm doing is basically just sealing this in. But what you can see is, like, my cardboard's not buckling at all, which is awesome. I mean, if I paint on it just like this, it's going to have a little curvature to it, and that's because of the natural creases. But I can actually turn this over and do the opposite side. You can even see here how it's got all of this good sealing goo inside those little ribs of the cardboard. So super cool. And again, I'm not taking too much care here, but you can see how fast it is to shellac one of these. Now, I found that doing this, I put a pretty liberal coat on that, but you can tell it's already drying. It dries super fast, which is awesome. So about 30 minutes to an hour to be dry. I'm going to set this over here and put my shellac up because I do not want to spill it. I mean, look at how sticky it is already. It's kind of gross. I just take these off because once they dry, the sticky goes away. And I'll get a new set of gloves because I don't want to stick to everything. So the question is, can we do something to cardboard to paint, to pour on it? And I believe the answer is yes, and I'm going to show you. In fact, I'm going to do my November collab on a piece of cardboard. So, if I can get my sweaty little hands into another pair of gloves. But while I do that, and check this out. So here's a couple pieces. That one's bent because I bent it on accident, but it's not sticky. This piece is a little bit thinner and more pliable, and it's just a different type of cardboard. I actually did this piece this morning. I would say it's probably a good idea to let this dry for 24 hours before you pour on it, just because it doesn't make it, it doesn't make the cardboard waterproof. It does make it water resistant. So if something wet sits on it for several hours, it's going to cause issues. I have poured different things on the cardboard so far, and Dutch pour consistency, or maybe straight pour is pretty thin consistency. It dries fast. I crank the heater up in my room here because it just makes it easier to not have to worry about things buckling. So I've got a piece here. It's really small, but I will show you at the end of my video all of the ones that I did that my video got corrupted on. So I just wanted to demonstrate this. So what I've got here, this is an Amsterdam white with a little bit of, I think I put a drop of burnt umber and some of my yellow in there. I'm just gonna, okay. And then for my colors, I have got an awesome palette here. I also went down a path of finding some really fun ways to mix my colors without stuff getting muddy. This demonstration is probably not those colors anymore because I tried out a bunch of different recipes, a bunch of different consistencies, because the only way I learn is by doing. And so I learned a lot. And again, at the end of my video, you're going to see everything I did, from a bloom to Dutch pours to all sorts of different ways that you blow out your paint. I can say this with confidence. I think blowing out paint is my least favorite fluid art type of painting. Probably because I have not gotten great at it yet, or even good at it. So, all right, there we go. Just pop in those bubbles. Let's see if we can get this to cover. Probably have to add some more. I actually had something in mind that I was trying to do, and I still have yet to be successful at it, which is awesome. But I will be someday, because that's what we do, right? We just keep trying and trying until we get it the way we like it. And the way I look at it is, if you're learning something, you're being successful. And I try and wake up every single morning with the intent of learning something new. Today I learned that the way that I have my video set up to record is not awesome, and it corrupts my files. So back to the drawing board on that one. All right, notice I'm just laying it right in there. I don't really care because I'm going to put this up on another one of those little racks the way I have that shellacked one drying. All right, so let's see what we can do damage wise. All right, so I also learned that I like the green, I believe, on the top. Yes, my green is probably some of the heaviest. I did do a bunch of density tests too. Oh, look at that. Just because I wanted to know what my paint was going to do. Dog hair is awesome. Okay, so I'm going to start with some of this. And I'm going to blow this way because I want to try and blow out of that little crack. Okay, so there's my brownish, reddish, maroonish, sparkly, whatever color it is. And then, you know what? I do like this yellow on top of that because it makes for some pretty things. So we're gonna go with a little bit of yellow there. And then I got this awesome orange. I have become a real fan of orange. Didn't really like orange, but all right. So there's my orange. And then I am going to put in some of this. It's like magic gold. It's really just interference yellow, Amsterdam interference yellow. It's also magic gold is a mica that I love, and so it will make some super pretty things happen. And then we're going to go with some more yellow because that is my transition color. And I'm going to put in, we're going to go this way. Okay, this is a cool green. I just got to make sure that I got the right one. Yeah, there we go. All right, here's my green and then my dark green. I love this color. All right. Okay. I am not putting a whole lot more white on top because I don't want to. I will, however, put some magic gold down on top of that green. That is going to look nice. You know what? Why not? I'm going to throw some in here too. Because you know what? You can never have enough gold and sparkles and cool stuff. All right. There we go. Okay, I think that's probably more than enough paint. And since I wasn't planning on doing another pour, but I realized it's going to be faster to get my video done doing it this way. So here we go. Oh, you know what? One more thing. Look at all those bubbles. There we go. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's so cool. All right. That needs a little bit of help. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm really done. Because if I'm not, I'm just going to ruin it. All right. Now, I know that this looks kind of really not fabulous right now. The craziest thing happens with these colors is that it dries better than it looks when you first finish it, which blows my mind. I'm going to just cover this little guy right here and right over here. Also notice that I have no bowing on my cardboard. Even if there's too much paint on here, which there could be, it will, because I'm pouring without cutting this before. If I cut down the middle here, it would be okay, but it'll pool right through there, and it's okay. It still turns out looking okay. So I'm just going to take this over to my drying table. Again, there's a lot of really cool looking cells. The colors stayed pretty separated. In here, it got a little muddy. I had to blow over it a couple times because I did leave too much paint on it. But this will still dry cool because of that interference gold. So, okay, I will set this to the side and wipe my hands off real quick. And I do have all of the pieces. I've got pictures for you of dry result. Obviously, that one's not going to be dry. But amazingly enough, I have one that looks almost identical to it on a canvas. I will show you what I mean about the colors drying cool. So I got really mad at this one yesterday and just flung some paint at it. And I mean, that red and just the way the colors kind of played together. And I just literally spun it around and around. But that gold sits on top and it like covers all of the muddy, icky spots. Or at least blends them in and has a ton of color shift to it. So, all right, there you have it. Look at how cool these are. Oh, look at that. So cool. but I will be very glad to retire these colors. All right, I will show you my dry cardboard slash canvases slash gallery of this frustrating but beautiful color palette in just a moment.